Am I audible? Padi sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Lakshmikant sir, आपका ये ऑफ हो गया, ऑडियो ऑफ हो गया है. Padi sir, your audio is off. Padi sir, I can't hear anything. None of us can hear anything. लक्ष्मीकांत सर कुछ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है. No. Wait, I'll call him up. If anyone is around him, so please inform him about it.
Well, madam, I am trying.
Yeah, please.
Sorry. Padi, sir. Padi, sir.
Oh. Oh, okay. So you will have to give them a call and find it out. Please ask them to do so. Yeah. Well, he has been muted by ICPR for the time being. So Rekha ji, Shrishti ji, Sukanta ji, I can see few names. If I can see your faces also behind the names. Tata ji madam. Good morning to everyone.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, hello.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. You are
Good morning, ma'am.
good morning. एक
Good
बार
morning, ma'am.
अपना वीडियो देख लूं मैं सबको. Yes, this looks yes. ऑनलाइन है ना तो जरा चेहरे तो दिखें. अभिषेक जी, good morning, good morning. Nice to see all of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good morning, Monica.
Good morning. आशुतोष जी, अब पता चल रहा है ना कि चेहरों के पीछे, नामों के पीछे क्या चेहरे हैं. नहीं तो पता चले कि कुछ पता ही नहीं चल पाता है. Yes.
Exactly, sir.
So, are we
Exactly.
collectively,
Pardon?
helping this enhancing the environment?
No, someone said something, but I couldn't make out. Okay, there is some network issue. Okay, no worries, no worries. Abhishek, you said something, but I couldn't make head and tail of it because you are muted.
No.
Unmute yourself, ma'am.
You can type it over there.
I was I was
Yes.
telling
Am I
yes,
our
seeing
faces
our
does
faces
add to
does
the
add to
ambiance
the
and environment
ambiance and
of the
environment of the
online
online online
Am I
class,
audible?
online class.
ये लक्ष्मीकांत जी, कहिए.
Okay.
अरे ये वापस से म्यूट हो गए. अच्छा ठीक है, उनको म्यूट अनम्यूट होने दीजिए. मैं तो म्यूटेड नहीं हूँ, तो मैं टॉक का शुरुआत करूँ. अच्छा, हो गए आप
Am I
अनम्यूट हो गए.
audible?
यस यस, बिल्कुल पूरी आवाज आपकी बुलंद है.
Thank you, thank you. Shall I start, Madam Ji?
Yes please, yes please.
Let's start. Let's start. Yeah. Actually, to all of you, and a warm welcome to Professor Namita Nimbalkar ji, who joined a typical year, which I find most of the people around this country were very close to me. And
जयशंकर जी म्यूट कीजिए आपको.
Namita ji has मुझे मुझे नमिता जी ने बचा लिया. और before requesting Namita ji to speak, I let me give a brief biodata about Professor Namita Nimbalkar. And Professor Nimbalkar, you'll be happy to know that most of the scholars, they have a background of environmental philosophy, and they have been selected on the basis of the criteria that either they are doing on PhD on environmental ethics, or they have published some related area in environmental ethics. So we are very much selective, and the participants till last day they have enjoyed it. Yesterday there was a lecture by Professor Kapil Kapurji, and we enjoyed the lecture very much. And now let me say a few words about Namita ji. On behalf of this workshop, I welcome you. And see, Dr. Namita Nimbalkar is a professor in the Department of Philosophy, University of Mumbai, has 22 years of teaching experience. She specializes in Gandhian philosophy, environmental ethics, world religion, contemporary philosophers, Indian Plato and metaphysics, specifically Western metaphysics. She has presented more than 80 research papers and published 20 at national and international level. She has edited one book and co-written textbook for compulsory paper foundation course for the for FY and SY, BA, BCom and BSc. Her book Gandhi's Quest for Communal Harmony received the Best Book Award by Bharatiya Mahila Darsanik Parishad in 2018. She has completed 5 minor research projects awarded by UNESCO and University of Mumbai. She has completed major research project awarded by Impress ICSSR New Delhi on the title A Study of Belief Systems and Environmental Practices of Sahyadri Zone tribes with special reference to Warlis and Dhor Kolis. She is awarded Government of India Swayam Mukh course on the moral and social philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi for 2021 and 2022. She is nominated as a member of the Board of Studies in 3 autonomous colleges in Mumbai and at 2 universities in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. She is the NSS coordinator of the University of Mumbai. She is in the editorial board of the departmental journal. She is also the joint secretary of Akhil Bharatiya Darsanik Parishad since 2019. She is actively involved in the conduct of department and university activities. What a beautiful career Professor Namita Nimbalkar has. We are fortunate enough to have with us today, and definitely, I now I request Namita ji. Namita ji is will be speaking 2 lectures, and the first lecture is the need of environmental ethics with special reference to the issues and challenges of tribal society. And the second lecture is international environmental laws. So we'll start from 10:30 to 12:30. In between, we'll go for 5 or 10 minutes break. Then your lecture will be continue up to 1.
So just to make myself clear, so we have lectures from 10:30 to 1 o'clock, right?
1 o'clock.
Okay. So there's nothing stipulated कि ये 1 घंटे में बोलना है, ये 2 घंटे में बोलना है, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है.
नहीं.
Okay, fine.
Now you are free to tell us. You're free to present, but we are happy that you are with us today, and we will use your intelligence today. That is our purpose.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now over to Namita ji for her presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Padhi, Professor Padhi. It indeed is a moment of delight for me to be present here in this national workshop, which is being held on environmental ethics. I thank ICPR, Lucknow Center, for inviting me over, as well as to Professor Satchidanand Mishra, Dr. Pooja Vyas, Jai Shankar Singh, as well as to my dear friend Lakshmikanta Padhi sir. I look at this as an opportunity to express certain insights which I had when I was working on my major research project, that is Impress, and which was related to the tribal areas. But along with that, there were certain questions which came to my mind, And those are the questions which I would be pondering over or which I would be discussing with you in the course of the topic. Now, to begin with, since a lot of background work has been done with you in the past 2 to 3 days, I will not go into the details of it. However, we all are aware that the 18th and 19th as well as the 20th century which is there, it is bringing lot of changes in the world. Science and technology, it has resulted in the concentration of power in the hands of the few. As well as we also find that there is an unwarranted exploitation of natural resources. Now, when we look at the world population 200 years ago, we find that it was less than 1 billion. And when we look at the world population from then to now, we find that India itself has a population of over a billion in 2015. And now it has gone more higher, just to name that number. Now, when we look at this population of India, we find that we account to 16% of the world population. Whereas when we talk about the land area which is there at our disposal, that is coming up to somewhere around 2.4%. So this is the geographical aspect. Now, when we look at the economic aspect of it, we find that the new economic policy of 1991, as well as the subsequent economic reforms which were there, which were ushered in India, it resulted in an era in India which we call it as the LPG, that is liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Now, what has happened because of this LPG? We find that the individuals, the purchasing capacity of an individual has increased. All of you are born somewhere prior and somewhere in 1991 or a little earlier than that. And each one of us have experienced the effects of LPG. Like for the families which could hardly afford a bicycle, even with the pay grade which was there then, to the family which can afford 2 to 3 motorcycles or a car at the present moment, we find that LPG has really ushered in lot of changes. However, the purchasing capacity also means that there is an unbridled use of natural resources. Similarly, we find that if you look at the census records, and the 2011 census record which is there, it shows that the people which are living below poverty line, it has decreased from 29.8% from in 2009 to it has come to 21.9% in 2011. Now, what has happened? That the population which is there, that has moved out of BPL, that is the below poverty line. And this population is termed as aspirers. Now, what will be the intention of the aspirers? The intention of the aspirers would be that over the next 20 years or so, this aspirers will move up into the middle class. And this means that the country will become a nation of upwardly mobile middle class households. So now when we talk about the middle class households, it means that the aspirers who could hardly afford a bicycle, now when they are the aspirers, they will be having a motorbike a bicycle, and in certain cases, a motorbike too. For example, I'm just talking in terms of mode of transportation. Apart from that, we find that the aspirers will immediately start the consumption of television units or a refrigerator or a cooler or a fan and so on and so forth. Now, this means that these aspirers, when they move to the middle class households, they will be consuming goods which will range from high-ending cars to designer clothing too. So I'm talking not about everyone, but in certain cases. So it will be branded clothing. So it will be like, rather than go to Gully Ka tailor, it will be going to a shop and buying maybe XYZ brand ka clothes. Now this indicates an unprecedented economic development, which will result in use, abuse, and misuse of resources. And naturally, when we look at the billion plus population, as well as the land area that we have with us. And when we talk about this billion plus population being upwardly mobile, we can understand the economic disaster which awaits for us. Many of you have seen Mumbai. Many of you have seen Mumbai through Bollywood also. You have also seen Mumbai through the songs which are there in it. And you have seen the Marine Drive too in Mumbai. Today's news mentions that this Marine Drive, because of the changes and because of the constant tides which are there, the possibility of it submerging underwater is somewhere in the next 30 years or so. In fact, Amitabh Ghosh, who is there, a very prolific writer, he has also warned about such kind of catastrophe which is taking place, and he has indicated that in the next few years, to say so, the coastal areas are the ones which will be highly affected. Now, when we speak about all the changes, all the aspects which are taking place, it becomes essential that we have to come with a solution to face the challenges of environmental degradation. Now, for this, it's not only the job of the philosophers, because philosophers are the ones who will be doing the conceptual analysis about it. We have the environmentalists too, and they are also the philosophers. We have the sociologists, we have the scientists. And these people, they these various categories of people, they are struggling to find solutions to the problems which is taking place worldwide. Just pick up the newspaper. Just look at the media. It is full of various such kind of accidents which are taking place. A year or so ago, we had heard about the bushfire which had taken place in Australia. The number of animals which were killed in it. So these are just one of the many incidences that we are aware about. Or for that matter, when we speak about the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, we are aware about the tribals which are over there and the problems and the issues which are being faced by them. So when you look at the environmental problems, those problems are not simple. Those problems are very, very complex. And it is also multidisciplinary, or you will find that they are entangled with each other. So it's not like that you can have a strict discipline or a watertight compartment and say that, oh, it's only the branch of economics which can give a solution to it, or only the branch of philosophy which can have an understanding of it. नहीं, वो ऐसे नहीं चलता है. So that's the reason why when we speak about an interdisciplinary approach to understand the environmental problems. Now, just to bring in another thing, the new education policy also emphasizes on interdisciplinary work for this very reason, not for the problem of environmental, but any topic today, any concept today is something which has to be analyzed, understood, studied very deeply, not from only one perspective, not wearing the horse's blinkers, but by having an interdisciplinary approach. Now, when we speak about this interdisciplinary approach or this interdisciplinary understanding, we find that one such debate which had taken place was about the anthropocentric viewpoint. We are, since all of you are have done a lot of work in it, I will not be going into the nitty-gritty of anthropocentric viewpoint. However, we are aware that there are many philosophers who have worked on it. So, and there are many philosophers who have taken the work further. For example, we have John Cobb, we have Ernest, we have Richard Sylvan, and they have challenged the anthropocentric view or human-centered view, which assumes the moral superiority of human beings to members of other species on Earth. Similarly, we have various environmental ethics theories which have come up. So we have the non-anthropomorphic, or we talk about the biocentrism, ecocentrism, deep ecology,